All right. Looks like we are live on both programs right now. That's the good news. Meteorologist Jeremy Capel with you folks on this, what is this, Thursday night? January 2nd, we started a new year. Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys are staying warm. We got some things to talk about. I got on last night with kind of an impromptu live video from a cabin I was staying in. Just taking a little time off for the new year, but I couldn't ignore what weather was saying, what the models have been saying. We've been talking about this for a couple of days, but really I thought it was important that we go ahead and we do a more formal broadcast. So that's what we're doing here tonight. I hope you guys are well. In this video update, I don't expect to make this too long. I'm hoping to keep this under about 20 minutes or so. But in this broadcast, we're going to be talking about this storm system, which I perceive, based on everything that I'm looking at, based on the patterns that I'm seeing, this storm's got a lot of earmarks of likely a crippling winter storm for many people. It may be the most impactful winter storm in many years, maybe a decade for some locations. So during this video update, we're going to get into that. I am a little out of practice, and I want to ask for your patience with me because I haven't done a lot of these live broadcasts in the last several months, actually the last year or two. So it's going to take me a moment to get back into this, but I'm going to do my very best, and hopefully you get something out of this video. Hopefully you find the information good, helpful, and hopefully that will encourage you guys to give me a like and share of this video update. We've got about 62 people live on the Facebook channel right now. That's my main Facebook page. I'm going to kind of check back and forth between Facebook and also the YouTube page. If you don't follow me on YouTube, that's meteorologist Jeremy Capel on YouTube, if you want my regular weather updates. So it does look like that we're open for business on both programs. Thanks for being on. Let's get into what we're here to talk about, which is a big problem. All right, let's show you the area that's already been highlighted by the National Weather Service just earlier this afternoon. They went ahead in advance of the storm that's not expected to even start really until late Saturday night and Sunday, but they went ahead and they issued a rather large winter storm watch that does include all these areas across the Central Plains, into the Middle Mississippi River Valley, into parts of the Ohio River Valley. And trust me, they're going to issue more warnings down the road. There are some active winter storm, or make that winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings for the higher terrains there in West Virginia and Southwest PA. That's for snow showers that are occurring now. I can show you that. Let's bring you on over to the radar. And we have kind of a clipper system. This is not a big deal. This is not. It will bring some snow again to those higher elevations up here in West Virginia. Great for the skiers out at Snowshoe. Some light snows generally moving across the region. This is not the storm of interest. Okay, the storm of interest is still a ways away. It's actually still off the U.S. coast. I'm going to show you that right now. And then we're going to take some questions before I show you the model data and I'll give you my thoughts on what's going to occur. So let's get on over to the latest model data here. And we'll start you off with the satellite perspective here. Again, things are quiet across the central U.S. We've got that little disturbance that you can see across the middle of your map here, helping to cause some of the snow shower activity. Not a big deal. Now, what we are looking at is all this plume of moisture you see off the west coast. That's associated with those jet stream winds that are going to cause some major problems in our area, much of this region. That's a close-up look at the storm just off the coast of the Pacific Northwest coast. Vigorous low pressure, and that's going to track right on through here, causing, again, a lot of lift. I don't know if you've noticed this, but we've had lots of cold air. Okay, and that cold air is going to interact with this lift moisture that's going to be pulled up from the Gulf of Mexico, and poof, just like that, we're going to have all the issues that we're expecting. Got about 93 live. Thank you for being on here. If you don't mind a quick like and share of the program, as always, it is appreciated. Let me take a couple comments here. And again, I'm kind of getting back used to doing these live videos, so bear with me if I'm not quite, 100% on point. But I am happy to be back in the saddle again. Let's see who we have. I've got Neha on here from Kinesis, New York. Did I say your name right? Marcia, Tom, hello to you. Hey, good old friend Rich Lupia. You should be helping me with this broadcast right now, Rich. I've got David Gully, our old friend from Lexington. I've got Bobby, Chris, Jan. Thank you very much for being on. And Matt Uhl, watching from the Knobs. That's Floyd Knobs, Indiana. Over on the YouTube channel, let's say hello to our friends who we have on right now. And appreciate you guys being on. Let's talk about the impacts of the storm. I did put a map together for you guys. So I haven't made one of these maps in a little while. But again, I think the storm deserves a little extra attention. So here's what we're expecting. And let me walk you through this, and then I'm going to show you the actual model details. I'm going to show you the actual model forecast, and I'll finish with my final thoughts. First and foremost, a ton of cold air is already in place. We know that. This is a system that's been very well advertised over the last couple of days. I would consider this a higher than average confidence forecast. Confidence in that this is going to be a very impactful winter storm. Confidence that this will be a crippling winter storm for some people. Now, detailing exact amounts of snow, exact amounts of ice, that's going to be the difficult part. We'll get to that. But this is a multifaceted storm. All modes of precipitation will occur, from rain to thunderstorms to freezing rain, sleet, and snow. The snow will be heavy. I think the freezing rain is going to be heavy. I think those are the two biggest issues that we have. We will have some severe weather that I'm not going to talk a lot about tonight. Across portions of the south, there's already a slight risk of severe weather in place. So for this update, we're going to focus on that low pressure that's going to track from southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, and it'll be here by Sunday during the day, and then it's going to track due east. I mean, this isn't going to ride north. It's not going to ride south. Man, this is going to do due west to due east. That means that line, precipitation patterns are going to also be basically west to east, which is why we have all the rain to the south. We've got the ice. And again, this area of pink is going to be mainly below freezing the entire time. Some of that will creep above freezing. You'll see a change over to rain for some areas across central Kentucky, maybe even into northern Kentucky. Some of this will change over to rain across portions of the Appalachians. But mainly this is going to be ice. And then you're going to have snow for parts of this area as well. So the areas that we're showing ice will actually be potentially heavy ice and heavy snow. It's a really terrible combination. And I'm not talking about a little. I'm going to share with you the model data in a moment, but the amount of ice that we're looking at is enough to take down trees. It's enough to topple power lines. It's going to create a disaster on the roads, considering the amount of cold air that's already in place and the cold air that's coming in behind it. So that's going to be a real problem. I think the snow could be excessive. I think we're looking at a large area of a foot plus, and I think a foot and a half is on the table right now. So this will be interesting as we watch these details unfold. All right, so that's my forecast. I'm going to come back to this forecast map at the very end just to provide a few final details, but I wanted you to kind of see what I was already thinking as the storm is approaching. Again, still two and a half, 3 days out. So a lot of fine tuning. In some areas, precipitation will fall for 36 hours or more. You could have precipitation, frozen precipitation, for the better portion of 2 days. And that in itself is also, of course, problematic. I need to get a monitor in front of me. Give me a second. Let me do this. I'm going to put in because I feel like I have to look over here when I should be looking at the camera. Again, all this stuff, just a little rusty. So bear with me for just a second. And while I'm doing this, I'm also going to pull up the model data that I promised you. And we'll start going through that together. All right, so I'm going to start you with jet stream winds. Pulling that up now. All right, and let me get that framed correctly for you. There you go. This is the European forecast model, showing you those forecasted wind speeds in the upper levels is what we're looking at here. And let me tell you, boy, there's a lot of wind energy above us. It has brought in the cold that's already here. that came right about the new year, right? And that same cold, which is above us right now, is going to continue to funnel in place thanks to these very strong jet stream winds. It's just going to continue to pour that stuff right on down into our neighborhoods here. All right, let me see if I can get these comments in front of me. Oh, Facebook, why do you have to be difficult? All right, we got 6 shares, by the way, on the Facebook. If you have time to give me another share, right on down into our neighborhoods here. Thank you for that, by the way, if you can. All right, let's get into the data. I'm going to try to track these. I'm going to try to track the comments. I did get a share. You guys just bumped me right up to 140, so thank you. And as soon as I get these comments up, I can get back to them. I'm going to show you the data now, though. And so this is the current jet stream pattern that we're dealing with here this evening, this Thursday evening. It is 10 o'clock in the evening. The impulse that we are looking at, and I showed you that on the satellite a moment ago, is going to be this guy right here. I mean, it really doesn't look like it's that big of a deal compared to... Trust me, it is. There's a lot of energy. Oops, sorry, I just hit my mic. There's a lot of energy associated with this. And let me roll through the paces here. So that upper storm, it's important to know that it's completely out in the Pacific Ocean right now. So again, this is the storm we're looking at out in the ocean, upper levels here. Until we get that storm over the United States of America, I'm talking about the continental United States. So that does not occur until here, which is sometime tomorrow night. So Friday night, we will finally get what we call that storm into the U.S. grid. And it's when we get it into the U.S. grid, we get to sample it with National Weather Service weather balloons. We get to sample it more frequently with U.S. aircraft. And we get to sample it from all the observing stations that are based on the surface of the United States, at every airport, at every observation station. So until we get this storm into the U.S. grid, we won't be able to see it nearly as clearly as we need to. So what I'm telling you is that over the next 24 hours, between now and the time it gets into the U.S. grid tomorrow night, we're going to see big changes in the forecast. And again, when I say big, I'm going to show you why it's huge, because some places that could be looking at 12, 18 inches of snow, if it shifts even 25 or 30 miles, may end up with a fraction of that. Same thing with the ice situation. You know, models are forecasting as much as an inch of ice, which would be devastating. But to actually figure out exactly where that occurs is going to be reliant on the fine details of this forecast. So we're going to try our best here. That upper low makes its way into the plains. It ejects out of the Rockies Sunday morning. So Sunday, the storm really takes shape across the central plains, and then Sunday night and Monday, it rolls through the Ohio Valley in the mid-Atlantic. Let's take a look underneath. And this is a little closer up shot, focusing on the Ohio Valley and the middle Mississippi River Valley. Here I'm showing you what we've got in place right now. And I want to thank the 135 live viewers right now on Facebook. Appreciate you guys being here. Again, keep those likes and shares coming if you like more video content like this. All right, so system in place tonight. It's really not a big deal. A few inches of snow across portions of central, northern Indiana, Ohio, maybe a little bit more than that into the higher elevations across portions of southwest Pennsylvania and into West Virginia. This is not a problem. For the most part, it's not a problem. Here's the storm of interest. You can see it on the left-hand side of your page. I'm going to start you right here. This is Saturday afternoon. Precipitation begins to develop across the high plains first, then all across the central plains. Notice the lack of rain initially. Just a very little bit of rain across the southern plains. So this is mainly going to be frozen precipitation on the onset. That pink is freezing rain, a little bit of sleet in there, but that's mainly freezing rain. And that covers much of the state of Kansas into Missouri. And to the north of that, you have the snow as it begins to develop. Just the beginning. So this is, again, tomorrow night, Saturday. I'm sorry. I'm too nice. I told you I was a little rusty now, didn't I? Saturday night, 2 nights from now. All right, now look at this. By Sunday morning, this is Sunday morning, about 8 a.m. Oh, look at that precipitation shield good grief. Still not a ton of rain. There's rain. Yeah, sure, there's rain. There's going to be thunderstorms too. And those thunderstorms during the day on Sunday will actually become severe, we think, for parts of the south. But again, for this forecast discussion, focusing on the winter precipitation. Now, all that pink, some of that is quite bright. That is heavy, freezing rain Sunday morning. Central Kansas through central Missouri, already nosing down into parts of western Kentucky to the north. That snow shield is beginning to expand, and it's beginning to definitely intensify. All right, so that's Sunday morning. Let's go to Sunday afternoon, and let's go to Sunday evening. Now the storm is mature. The storm is, it's 1,000 millibar low. It's a potent low. It's not an astronomically strong low, but it's strong enough. It's going to pull up a lot of moisture. That low is expected to ride right there along the state border of the Missouri, Arkansas line, and then the Kentucky-Tennessee line. So it's going to move right there east to west, which is actually a little helpful when it comes to forecasting where the ice and where the snow is going to fall. But look at your ice shield. That's very significant, especially that hot pink that goes from near St. Louis, Missouri, down to Paducah, through Evansville, Louisville, Kentucky, Lexington, and points to the east. That's heavy, freezing rain. To the north of that, that snow shield really expands, and you see the deep blues and purples there. Heavy snowfall from Kansas City to just north of St. Louis to Indianapolis to Cincinnati, and then points to the east. Big storm. Okay, so this is Sunday evening. Let's go ahead, roll through Sunday night. This is Sunday night, that freezing rain tapering down. I want to point out one more feature here. While the storm actually begins to wind down a little bit as we head on into Monday, look what happens on the back end. You get this other feature of snow that develops. This is called a trowel. This is a trowel. This is it's a feature that sometimes can occur on the backside of a pretty vigorous low. It can create enhanced lift, I imagine, with very cold temperatures, because the temperatures are going to be dropping. We're not going to have to worry about freezing rain for that last bit of snow, but that snow is going to come down at a fast rate. It's going to accumulate quickly. It's going to be a very powdery snow. So on the back end, on the nose of this, for many areas, the nose, you'll have snow. You'll go over to freezing rain for many areas. Not all. Some will stay all snow. Some will stay mainly freezing rain. Some will go over to rain. But those areas along, say, the Interstate 64 corridor, say from Lexington to Evansville, maybe to St. Louis, you could start as snow, go to freezing rain for several hours, and lots of accumulation of both. Snow, freezing rain, and then into snow, and then it comes back to bite you with a lot of cold air. So that's going to be interesting. All this is going to add up. In a second, I'll show you the totals that this model is projecting, and they're very significant. All right, so let's see who we have on. I want to take a couple comments if I can too. And you have to pardon me, I'm looking at multiple monitors here, about 135 live on Facebook, so thank you for that. My friends over on YouTube, thanks for being on here. And see if I can get those comments. A couple comments if I can too.
No comments. Sorry about
the audio there. All right, here we go. I'm gonna have to come over here for a second. All right, I've got Matt. Do you see much adiabatic cooling near the snow rain line? What I see is the adiabatic prospect to this. It won't be nearly as much as the dynamic amount of cooling that we're going to be seeing with this system. We're going to have a lot of dry air in different parts of the atmosphere, and so with precipitation falling through that dry air, that's going to cause it to cool even more. But I wouldn't second guess the European forecast model. When it says it's got freezing rain on us, that's probably what's going to happen at this range, at least I think for Louisville. And Matt, I think you're talking about the Louisville market. Colleen, watching from Avon. Stay safe and warm out there. Praying the ice isn't too bad. Thank you. Thank you, Colleen. I appreciate that. Brad on here. Anything to keep the ice totals down. I've got Carol Nixon in St. Louis. Carol, you guys are in a bad position. I think I think St. Louis sees some of the worst weather. You could have hefty ice totals and hefty snow totals. That could be the case for areas like Evansville, Louisville, southern Indiana more likely. I see Indianapolis more snow. I've got Andrea from Pennsylvania. Thanks for being on. I've got Melissa. Almost all of Kentucky covered in deep ice. And I do think that Kentucky is looking at ice primarily. You will see snow, especially northern Kentucky, but ice is going to be the problem. All right, I've got a share from Tina. Thank you. And she says she's glad I'm back. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Got a share from Chris Pate as well. All right, thank you guys. All right, next we're going into snow and ice amounts according to the European forecast model. And if you guys follow me, you know the European forecast model is where it's at, okay? I'm just saying it's where it's at. That is the most accurate mid-range model that we have. So let's get right to it. And going back over to those that weather model here for you. This time we're going to talk about ice totals. And then we're done with that. We're going to talk about snow totals. All right, here we go. I think this is the worst of the worst, okay? Freezing rain, it's just one of the most destructive phenomenon, nature makes. And it's one of those ones that it's like you don't see coming, right? It looks like rain. It looks innocent enough. But the problem is when the rain is falling, when the surface temperatures are below freezing, and when the air temperature near the surface is below freezing, and then it piles up on the trees and on the power lines, and then the trees come tumbling down, and then the power lines go down, and we've seen the worst of the worst. If you go back to, what year was it? Western Kentucky was walloped with like 1.5 inches of ice. It was ridiculous. But, I mean, some of those people were without power for over a month. Now, I'm not saying that this one's going to be that bad. I am not predicting more than 1 inch of ice. I sure hope that we don't see that. But the data has been very consistent, looking at quarter, half inch, and even 3/4 inch ice amounts. Let me tell you, once you get to 1/4 inch, tree limbs start to come down. By the time you get to half inch, trees are coming down. And 3/4 of an inch is devastating. Just devastating. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But you see the areas that we have highlighted. This is the European forecast model. I'm not going through all the models. I'm only showing you the one that I think has the highest chance of being right. Okay? And I oftentimes only reference this model because it's got a long track record of being the most accurate. So that's what we're showing you today. Tomorrow, I'll put out my own numbers. I won't do that tonight. Tomorrow, I'll put out my own numbers. But you can see, again, central Kansas, central Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, much of Kentucky, and into central southern Virginias. Make that central southern West Virginia, central Virginia. Potential of significant ice. And it won't just be ice. The northern areas there that we're showing 1/4, half inch of ice could also have 6 inches of snow. Let me show you that now. And areas north of the ice could have 1 foot of snow. It could have more than that. You can see, according to the European forecast model, I think these numbers are pretty good. Look at that out there in Kansas. Showing 17, 18 inches of snow near Kansas City, Topeka, my old stomping ground. But even, further east, you make your way into parts of southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. That's 12 inches. That's 15 inches, 16 inches of snow. Higher elevations of West Virginia. Yeah, ski lovers are going to love that. We got about 17 inches of fresh snow on top of snowshoe by Monday night. A lot of ice, a lot of snow. As mentioned, there is even the prospect of some severe weather for parts of the Deep South. So with that being said, let's see who we have. I've got, trying to pull my comments up here. Lorraine, don't know how this got up. Sorry, wait, what? What is that? New York buy and sell everything? What are we talking about here? We don't want it in Iowa, says Chris. I've got, I think you're fine. I think you're fine. Susan, your show was great when you're, all right, Susan. And then, what else do we have? All right. This is when you stay home and hunker down. That's right. So, moral of the story is this. We've got a major winter storm on the way. In some cases, this will be a crippling winter storm. You know, some lucky kid's not going to go to school for a week or two, you know, at least a week, right? A lot of cold air coming in behind it. We're going to have plenty more updates over the next couple of days, but you got about 2 days, 2.5 days to buy your bread and milk. So if you haven't planned your trip to Walmart or your local grocer, you need to do that in the next couple of days. Of course, we're going to be able to fine-tune this a lot better as well. All right, one final check of our friends over here on our YouTube channel. Thanks for being on, YouTubers. That is meteorologist Jeremy Capel. If you're looking for me on YouTube, I'm going to show you my forecast map one last time, and then we'll take final questions and bring this down for a close here. And I do want to thank you guys for being on. Let's see. There it is. So again, the situation, very strong low pressure, going to interact with a lot of cold air. There's that low, going to run right there, east or west to east, from southern Missouri through the mid-Atlantic. Heavy snow possible. Especially, I love that zone, say, St. Louis to Indy to Cincinnati. I think you get a ton of snow. But areas just south of that could see a ton of ice and a ton of snow. And that's a problem. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. Let's look for any final comments we might have on this Thursday night. 103 still live. Thank you for being on. Naiha remembers the 77 blizzard. I was just a wee little thing. Linda Dean, we just enjoy seeing you again. Thank you very much, Linda. And let's see here. Thank you, David. And all right, good to see David Bundren on here as well. All right. Bring on the thunder snow. It's possible. Yeah, this storm absolutely could bring some thunder and lightning with the snow. We'll see how it pans out. And we'll continue to monitor the situation as it develops here over the course of the weekend. I will have another update tomorrow, late afternoon and evening. So if you want to stay tuned, you can find me here on Facebook. That's Jeremy Capel, or meteorologist Jeremy Capel on YouTube. If you want my weather exclusive on Facebook, that's Weather Live Media, WX Live Media. Would love to see you over there as well. In the meantime, you guys stay warm, get prepared, watch this thing as it comes in. January is going to be a bear, as we've talked about for weeks now. Lots of cold after this storm. I suspect we'll have more weather to talk about. In the meantime, thanks for being on here tonight. You guys stay blessed, stay warm, and we'll talk to you soon.